What is going on, everybody? Welcome to podcast version of our risers and shiners list. I am your host for these, Drake Man. You can follow me on Twitter at DrakeMan4. And I'm joined here by my co-host, Austin Farmer. Austin, say hi.
What's up, everybody? Like Drake said, my name is Austin Farmer, and you can find me on Twitter at AustinF0421. And I'm really pumped that we're finally getting around to doing this. I know we've said on Prospects Overload many a times that we've been working hard on it, and here we are. We finally made it.
Well, Austin, life does happen, and we both are in school. I have two jobs going on, so that makes it kind of hard, difficult for uploads. I kind of end up enjoying this now.
Yeah, and I'm just a bum who just edits everything for Prospects Worldwide, so it's not like I have a life either. So, that's how it
Why are
goes.
you still talking after bum? You are a bum. That's basically all that you do.
Yeah, just a bum that knows how to edit.
Barely.
Oh, okay. I'd like to see you do my job.
No, I would not have time. Austin, so we're gonna start today. We're gonna start with the Padres, the San Diego Padres. Austin, what do you think about this farm system before we go into this list?
Yeah, the Padres have a very young farm system. They do have a lot of depth, and regardless of what a lot of Padres fans say, I do think that they have set themselves up quite well for the future. And one of our top guys actually has made his debut already, and he's someone that you and I have both been excited for since he was in high school.
Yeah, and that's some nice foreshadowing for the later episode. But I want to put my take on here on the Padres system. Yes, the Padres have traded a lot of minor league talent that has been very, very good, i.e., Matt Brash and Cal Quantrill and a bunch of other guys that just bloomed in um, other teams. But I still think that this system is actually pretty good. I mean, the top five alone, actually, you could probably argue top six alone is still one of the best in baseball. If we're being honest here, but yeah, but it does go downhill from there. But they do have a bunch of guys that are very, very raw, but come with significant upside.
Yeah, it's like high risk, high reward is the best way to put it.
Exactly. All right. So Austin, as you were just talking about, our first guy, number one on the Padres list, is C.J. Abrams. And Austin, I know that you're a big fan on our prospect over. You did talk about Abrams as being one of your favorites, so I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, Abrams is my favorite prospect for the Padres, and we do have him at number one. And yeah, I do have him at plus hit with 50 power. I do think that his power is a little bit underrated. I think that once he continues to develop his game, he does have enough strength and drive in his swing that the home runs will come. That being said, he's not going to mash like 30 plus or 40 plus, but 20 to 24 is going to be very realistic. And my favorite thing about him is how fast he is. I do have him in 80, which, is not an easy grade to come by, but that man is fast. Like when you see him run, he's so graceful around the bases and he steals with ease. And he's going to be atop the leaderboards in stolen bases every season, I feel. And I did see him in San Antonio last season, and he did get gunned down by MJ Melendez, but it was close. And, MJ is a great catcher himself with a phenomenal arm as well. But just seeing him run, man, it's an exciting thing to see.
That's very good points on C.J. Abrams, and as we said, he has made his debut, and he actually got his first hit the other night against the Giants. So that was really cool. It's an opposite field base hit. So, and of course, he sprays the ball more better than anyone, really, any other shortstop in the minors. Maybe Anthony Volpe, but I think that Abrams might be a little bit better there at spraying the ball.
Yeah, and when I did see him in San Antonio, that was one thing that I noticed too, is his ability to hit opposite field. And of course, I miss his first hit, because I don't have the subscription to MLB at bat, and I've been focused on watching MILB TV since I do have the subscription for that. But whenever the Padres are on ESPN or MLB Network, I'll be watching.
That's good, man. That's good. Now we're gonna move forward with number two on our list. We have Luis Camposano, and this is one of my guys in this system. I mean, he is I do feel like the Padres are messing with his development a little bit because he has nothing left to prove in AAA. Let's just be honest here. He has arguably some of the best power in the system, in my opinion, and his hit tool is easily above average. I think you could say he could be working more on defense, but on the other end, it's Luis Camposano, and he's raked at every level of the minors. And that's really all I have to say on Luis Camposano. Austin, what do you think on Camposano?
Yeah, I know that you're really high on him. I haven't seen him as much as you have, so you have more of an idea. But from what I've seen, I can agree that he's one of the better offensive catchers in the minors. That being said, I can't really say I've seen enough for him to be above average. I do think that he minimally will be average. But again, like I said, you've seen him more than I have. But not to stat scout, I would like to say that he is starting the season, the very young 2022 season off hitting 417 in AAA with a couple of doubles.
All right, Austin, that is a very good point. And like I said, I'm a big fan of Campusano, and the fact that he's hitting 417 right now just justifies my point that the Padres are messing with his development. But at the same time, he is getting quality at bats down there, but they do need to find some way to get him in the lineup every day.
Yeah, and now with the universal DH in place, they really should minimally at least get him some ABs in the big leagues with that, even if he's not behind the plate.
Exactly. And there was a dog that was just barking, so
yeah,
maybe she didn't like your take.
Yeah, maybe she's not happy that Camposano isn't in the big leagues yet either. I do apologize, everyone. That is my dog, and as we're recording, my sister-in-law did just come home and she heard the garage. Not my take.
I think it was a mixture of both. But Austin, we're gonna move forward. I know that this is also one of your top prospects that you like. We're talking about Robert Hassell, number 3. Austin, take it away.
Yeah, I could go on and on and on about Robert Hassell because I watched him quite a bit last season through MiLB TV. By the way, big shout out to MiLB TV. If you guys ever want to sponsor us, we watch all religiously, or the streams that y'all have religiously. So hint, hint. But Hassell is a really interesting guy in the Padres system. I do remember when he was drafted that MLB Network actually compared him to Bryce Harper, which I thought was not very accurate, honestly. But that being said, Hassell is a player in his own. I do have him hit over power. He does have a sweet left-handed swing. He does have a bit of lot, but it's not like he's trying to hunt for home runs. I do project him more in left, and he's only an average glove, and he does have below average arm strength, and I think that will factor him into moving over to the left as well. He's a center fielder now, but I've seen him not look very comfortable in center field, so I think that over time, most of his production is going to come from the plate anyway, so it's not like it's going to be that big a deal where he ends up in the outfield, but I think that he would be a more comfortable fit in left field. But before I go on and on, because I can talk about Hassell all day, I'm going to end it there.
Now, Austin, are you aware of Robert Hassell's nickname?
No.
It is Bobby Barrels. So do you agree with that statement?
Yeah, and that makes sense. Because the number of times that I've seen him barrel up a ball, even if it's not a home run, it's pretty impressive. So I do feel like that's going to stick with him, even going into the big leagues.
So from here on out, whenever we talk about Robert Hassell, you're going to call him Bobby Barrels, correct?
Are you going to pay me?
Why would I pay you?
Because I'm amazing.
Okay, moving on. That was a total fabrication, but okay. All right, so Austin, number 4 on our list, we have James Wood. And this is a guy that we've already talked about on the podcast, and everyone knows how much you and I like him. But where he came from in the ACL last year was just flat out amazing. I mean, he could have been a top 5 pick if I remember he was going to be, with a good senior year, he would have been a top 5 pick easy. But I mean, he struggled. He goes to the ACL and completely tears it up, and now he's in low A. He is currently injured with a wrist injury, but
Ooh.
at the same time, But at the same time, he has in the early season been tearing it up in low A Lake Elsinore. Austin, what do you like about James Wood?
Yeah, like you said, coming through the draft, if he had done better, he probably would have been a top 5 overall pick. But his bat just did not look good, and I think I even had it at like a 45. And then yeah, he gets taken second round, signs, and gets sent to the ACL. And my God, folks, we're gonna tag the in our write-ups. We're going to have the video that we have on YouTube of James Wood. Be sure to go check that out. He just hits. And I know that you do have his hit it as a plus. I do have it at a 55. I think I still have some concern just based off the development that's happened with him. Like his senior season, I get his high school ball and everything. That did worry me quite a bit. So I'm not there yet to give it a plus. But that being said, I'm not afraid to be wrong either. And development changes anytime in coming up. So there's a chance that he might actually be plus, but I do think that for me, a 55 hit is very realistic. Either way, with his 6'7", 240-pound frame, that man can just absolutely mash.
Austin, you also weren't the one that went and saw him at Arizona Complex League. I think I saw him about. So, folks, all that video that is on our website from the ACL, that is all from me. So that 10 minutes of video was all taken by me at games. So I'm not trying to give myself, a pat on the back, but I might be.
I mean, you deserve it. You did a really good job
I
editing
saw
that.
him a lot.
I
That
mean,
I saw him a lot. So we'll just say that. But I was very impressed with his hit tool. As you know, as Austin just specified, I had him at a 60 hit, 55 power. I just think that for a big guy, he for one thing, he runs very well for a big guy. Number two, he controls his zone better than anyone I saw at Arizona Complex League. Maybe other than Milcar Perez, but other than that, James Wood was everything that I was told, and then some. All right, I'm hearing crickets, so we're gonna move on to number 5, which originally, Austin, I think we need to specify this. Originally with Rubio Angeles before he got traded to the Athletics. But we're going to go with Jackson Merrill over here, first round pick in 2020. And I am in love with Jackson Merrill. Not that way, but as a prospect, I think that he has quite a bit of potential on him. He did struggle in the ACL, but right now he is in Lake Elsinore, and he has been doing pretty well up there. And yeah, I'm hyped for his future. But yeah, Merrill did impress me. I have his hit at above average, and power would probably get there as well. I mean, I've heard stories of Merrill just absolutely lacing the ball, and yeah, I think that Merrill is going to be a stud, and that draft pick is going to be a steal for the Padres.
Yeah, you're the guy that covered his write up on our rankings for risers and shiners, so I didn't put as much research into him as you did, and I didn't see him as much as you did besides the video that we do have, but I was impressed from what I saw, and I do think that minimally he's going to be a solid big leaguer, but I need to watch more, but I do see a lot of potential that comes with Merrill as well.
Yeah, exactly, because I'm the boss here. All right, so there's our top 5, folks. We are only doing 5, like a top 5 list. Then this is where we move on to our risers, where we think that these prospects are going to rise into potential top 10, top 5 prospects in the future. And one, I just want to put one note though before we move on. Austin,
Yeah,
this needs to be answered before we go on to risers. Where
what's
is
up?
Mackenzie Gore?
Mackenzie Gore, man, we were not happy with him until spring training. And that being said, like he had a setback with his development between the injury, and so we did leave him off the list. We did leave him off our list because he does come with a lot of risk.
Yeah, I mean Austin, to me he would be number 6 on this list. And when you talk about risk, I mean James Wood has risk. Jackson Merrill has a lot of risk. Even Robert Hassell has risk. As much as I wanted to put him on here, especially now that he's throwing 97, 99, has a wicked slider. I just felt like that if we were to, I don't know, the guys in front of him on our list have more potential than Gore at this time, at this point of his career. Even though he is throwing 99 now, that slider curveball is absolutely amazing. But this upcoming start that he has, because he's going to be starting in the coming days, he could shut me up so quickly. So that will be very interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, and I do notice one thing with our list too is our top 5 for the Padres are all offensive players. And that being said, they do come with a very high upside, and I think so much more upside given that Gore already has the injury history, and younger pitchers come with so much more risk than our top 5, despite them being offensive players. So yeah, I can agree. If we had a top 10, then he would be number 6. But just having him in the top 5, I felt was not a safe pick.
And like I just said, he could definitely shut both of us up. So
Yeah,
we'll see. I mean, I'm hyped that he's throwing 99 again. That's pretty. That's amazing.
yeah, it was
But
honestly kind of refreshing seeing that.
but Austin, you did mention that we have all position players in our risers. We do have 2 pitchers that we are going to go over. But let's just talk about the risers list. Number 1, these are in no particular order, but number 1 on our list is Eggy Rosario. And
Eggy!
Austin, I know I can't say anything now after that, so just go ahead and just talk about him. I'll be flat out with you, Austin. I don't think Eggy Rosario is the same player that you think he is.
Ooh, man, I am ready for Eggy to prove me right and shut you up, because while I do think that his offensive production will be average, I do have him at 50 hit, 40 power, and I get that power does play nowadays. Man, every time that I've seen him defensively, he is really good. He balls out on the field. I have him at 55 field. I think that he's going to be a really solid second baseman. And if you can be solid at second with even average production at the plate, I think that he's going to bring some value to the Padres. And I don't care what you say, I am really high on Eggy, and I'm excited to see him come up. And he is in AAA this season, so we could see a 2022 debut. And I'm ready for him to, for him to shut your mouth.
I mean, Austin, you were here um when you came out for Arizona Fall League, and I drove you down to, where was it? It was Glendale to watch the Desert Dogs, yeah. And Andre Palante made Eggy Rosario look absolutely horrible in 2 plate appearances, and I was
Well,
like, "Who is Rosario with this?" All right, and I just
well,
wasn't really impressed by him. I thought he was a little boring, but again, Eggy Rosario could just shut me up. But he's on this list. Yeah, you really did vouch for him, so I do respect that.
yeah, and Palante did hit 99 when we went to go see him. So Palante has electric stuff, and like I said, I do only have his hit at a 50 and power to 40, but I think that his defensive capabilities is what brings his value, and just his amount of hustle and everything. Like the way that he just went after it on the field, like that was hard not to notice, and that's what got my attention. So even if he's not all that great at the plate, I think that he brings a lot of value defensively.
Very, very interesting point there. We'll see what happens with Rosario, man. But I don't know. He just seems a little boring to me, kind of like what you with Pedro Leon.
Yeah.
But Austin, this is another guy that you covered on our second on our rising list is Victor Lizarraga. And Austin, I'm just gonna immediately just throw you in the fire here. What do you love about Victor Lizarraga?
Yeah, there's not. I know this is going to sound really bad, but there really wasn't a lot of video or anything. But what I did see from the video I could find, Lizarraga has so much potential. There are reports that he was only hitting like 94, 95, but there is so much life on his fastball that I think it ticks up in his grade, and his slider has a lot of sharp bite from the bit that I was able to see. So, I could just be blowing it out my butt for all that I know, because I really got to see more than just internet stuff. But I think that Lizarraga does ooze so much potential that it's hard not to get excited and see what he can do. And he's another guy who's like a lot of high risk, high reward. So I think that it could honestly either go really bad or just completely pay off for the Padres, and he becomes a like mid-rotation pitcher and or elite reliever if he doesn't make it in the rotation. I would like to say he is in with Lake Elsinore right now, and his first start of the season he went 3 2/3. I know, not that great. He did give up 3 hits, but only 1 earned run. And you know, I know in the ACL he struggled with command, and he did walk 4 batters, so nothing there. But he is young, so we're not expecting him to be a command pitcher. But I think that now that he is in Lake Elsinore, there will be a lot more access to watch him. And I highly recommend any of Padres fans to go check out your hopefully future star pitcher.
Now, Austin, I want to go back to something you just said. You said that he has. Did you say he touched 94 to 95?
He was reported.
Reported as touching 94 to 95, and you made it seem like that wasn't impressive for an 18-year-old.
No, that's very impressive. But the point that I was trying to make was the life on his fastball was outstanding from what I saw. And the velocity is great, especially for an 18-year-old, but the life on that fastball for an 18-year-old, phenomenal. Like, I honestly think he's going to be a strikeout pitcher with the amount of life and depth that he has on his pitches. Like, the velocity is great and everything. I wasn't trying to downplay it, but I was so impressed by that life.
All right, interesting. I just wanted to clear that up. I mean, 95 from an 18-year-old is pretty impressive. All right, so Austin, so I'm gonna continue on here after Victor Lizarraga. But number 3 on our list is a guy that I saw again at ACL, and I just thought that he needed to be mentioned in my top technically 21 hitters from the 2021 Arizona Complex League. We're gonna go to William Cedeno, and I hope I said that right. But this is a guy, Austin. You know how I feel on him. Everybody knows how I feel on him, but I want to get your thoughts on near William Cedeno.
Yeah, I really like Cedeno. I do have his hit and power both at 50s. And, that could change considering he was just 19 years old last season. But I really liked his ability to drive the ball. I do think that he needs to make more consistent contact, which is why I do have him at a 50. That being, or I wouldn't necessarily say consistent contact. I think he needs to have more efficient at bats, I would say. And I have clocked him at above average run times. So he does have a bit of athleticism and speed. And I think there's a lot of projection to be had with Cedeno. I'm just going to stick with Cedeno because I'm sure that I'm going to butcher his first name as well. But yeah, I even mentioned in the write-up the thing that I was most impressed with was his ability to drive the ball opposite field in the gap. He did that really consistently. So even if he only puts up 20 to 24 home runs, I feel that with his speed and his gap to gap, he's probably going to have 30 plus doubles a season to go along with it. So even if he, let's say, hits 250 to 259 with 20 to 24 bombs in a solid lineup, he's going to have a lot of run production, or he's going to produce a lot of runs.
That's a very good point. And again, I was the one that got all the Cedeno footage, and I just couldn't believe how hard the ball came off of his bat, dude. And then they'd go, literally, he'd spray it to the left center field. He literally, I think in the video alone, he had about 3, 4, 5 doubles or something, and he had two home runs, which was pretty insane. And one of his home runs was to deep left field, and he's a lefty. So, or actually, he's a switch hitter. I'm sorry, he's a switch hitter. But his home run was from the left side. Yeah, left side, and he hit it to deep left field. So, yeah, that was pretty good. I was gonna roast you if you got it wrong, but
yeah, I actually know what I'm talking about, unlike you and Caden.
Did you really just say that?
Yes, I did.
Really just say that?
Yes, I did.
Says the guy that doesn't know how to grade prospects properly.
Okay.
Prove me wrong. I mean, your Cedeno was okay. Okay, it really wasn't too official, but I mean, this is the same guy that thinks that Anthony Volpe's overrated.
Well, he is.
Oh man. Hey, Milton, I know that you listen to this, so come get your guy. Come get him. And
Yeah, well, in the last 2 days alone, Anthony Volpe has gone like 0 for 6, and he's had a lot of swing and miss. So until he starts hitting the ball consistently and stops chasing breaking balls, trying to fish for home runs, I stand by what I say.
okay, all right. We this has turned into an Anthony Volpe roast fest, and that is very unnecessary. Austin, we're gonna move forward here with Victor Acosta, and this is another guy in the system. I do like Cedeno, but I think Acosta comes with considerable more upside than Cedeno. And much like Cedeno, Acosta is also a switch hitter. I love his swing more from the left side. It's quick, compact. He drives the ball with authority. He has good speed. He has some power potential, but I just feel like he's going to be in this top 5 list. Maybe this year with the graduation of possibly Abrams and Gore. He could be in this top 5 list going forward. But also, Austin, you and I are both card guys. His card prices are absolutely insane right now. That should tell you how hyped up this kid is. So what
Yeah,
do you like about him?
yeah, I haven't personally seen much besides internet stuff about him, so I can't really say that what I quote unquote know. I say that loosely because yeah, I haven't really seen what he can do besides internet stuff, like I said, because he did spend 2021 as a 17-year-old in the DSL, so he should be in the ACL this season, I'd imagine, which means you and Caden will get eyes on him. And from what I remember, he was at the Padres minor league spring training camp, and Caden did see him and said, by the way, shout out to Caden Schmidt. You're our boy, Caden. Yeah, while he was impressed with Acosta, I do think that does speak detriments to the direction that Acosta could be headed to. So, with the solid minor league spring training camp, there is a lot of potential to be had with them. So that also implodes his baseball card market. I would like to say that I managed to pick up a Bowman's Best Auto for just like $8 because it wasn't a first Bowman, and first Bowmans are overrated anyway. And I'll settle for the base quote unquote base autos of the players that, unless they're first Bowmans of the superstar prospects, everything else is going to go for a lot cheaper. So I'm happy with the $8 pickup that I made.
You just made all the card nerds mad. I'm just saying that.
Yeah,
But
well, I'm an autograph collector, and I'll collect whatever autograph I can afford. I could care less if it's a first Bowman. I do prefer rookies more than anything, rookie autographs, but I collect within the means of my budget, which is not as much as I'd like it to be.
and I do want to just talk about Acosta just a little bit more about the DSL. Um, like you were talking about, he did rake there, and this wasn't my report, but I could just for the people that I don't know maybe are watching this before they go and read the report. He had a 431 on base percentage, which I know in the DSL the pitching really isn't the best, but a 155 WRC plus, which that is 55 points above average. So that's pretty insane to me.
And he also stole 26 bases at the DSL. And that being said, just like pitching, the catching is the catchers behind the plate don't necessarily have the best arms, but 26 stolen bases in 56 games. This is 100% stat scouting, by the way. But I think that's one thing that I'll be looking for is his speed, like how well he can run the bases, how well he can put pressure on the bases, and not just his home to first, but his ability to round the bases without getting picked off, or without the ability to not get picked off in general, because that is something that some young prospects do struggle with sometimes, is getting back to the base in time. So there's a lot that I'm interested to see with his base running capabilities. Those 26 stolen bases really, really stick out to me.
Now I don't mean to. I that was excellent stuff on Acosta, but I just knocked the pitching at the Dominican Summer League, and I just want to say one thing. Caden Schmidt You know what I just basically said? I just basically said that Juan Pinto is overrated. Come at me.
Oh,
That's
Caden,
right.
Caden, you gonna take that?
I don't know why we're talking trash and he's not even in here. So that was just something fun I thought of. But let's go ahead and end this, Austin. Number 5 on our list is Jackson Wolf, and you actually got me on the train of Jackson Wolf, and I did see his professional debut. He looked really really solid. I love his delivery. I think it's very deceptive. His fastball has some good life to it. I do love his breaking ball, how it can have two different types of movement. Changeup is a little bit of an iffy pitch going forward, but I think that he could follow the same footsteps as another Padres pitcher, Ethan Elliott, who unfortunately did retire a couple weeks ago, but he was going on a trail of just breaking out of nowhere and becoming a very solid pitcher in the Padres system.
Yeah, and Wolf didn't necessarily have the most glamorous or phenomenal career in college. He did pitch in the same pitching staff as Alek Manoah at West Virginia, so there is a lot of potential with Wolf. Like you said, he does have a lot of deception. He still does need a lot of further development, but I do think though that with his 6'7" frame and his deceptive delivery from the left side on the mound, I think that he could sneak his way into being a top 5 prospect, which is why essentially we have him on the risers list.
That's a very bold statement, very bold statement. But I do want to mention one thing. He did make his debut in 2022, and in one game, 1.1 innings pitched, he gave up 2 runs but struck out 3. So his ERA is currently 13.50, but of course ERA doesn't really matter a lot anymore. So I don't even know why I brought it up, but I just thought that was pretty something I could add in there.
Yeah, and they might just be trying to monitor his pitch count and everything right now, so he might have warmed up if they let him continue, but we didn't watch the game, so we don't know the circumstances to it. But yeah,
I could tell you how many pitches he threw. He threw 46.
well, maybe he started losing command then, and they figured that may as well. They might be protecting him, is what I'm trying
You
to
hit the
say.
nail on the head. He had 3 walks.
Yeah, they were probably trying to protect him.
Exactly. That's a very, very good statement. But all right, Austin. So now I'm going to challenge you. Who's one guy that we didn't even mention today who is going to rise and could end up on this list next year?
Yeah, this is going to be a biased pick, but I'm going to go with Jared Alvarez Lopez. I know that you and Caden both saw him at ACL last season, and while he didn't perform very well, he is at Lake Elsinore right now, and he's starting off hitting 294. And he as I recall, you did like him behind the plate, and he is a pretty decent defender uh, behind the dish. And just to point out why it's a biased pick, he did go to the same high school as Colton Cowser, Ty Madden, and Matthew Thompson, and helped them win a state championship. And he signed with the Padres out of the 17th round of the 2019 draft. So I think that alone in itself could be a reason why some people are sleeping on him, and he might end up progressing quite nicely from it.
So, Austin, I was going to do Max Ferguson, the second baseman out of the who was at the ACL last year, because I did like his hit tool. But I think I'm going to go with Brandon Valenzuela. He's a 21-year-old catcher, and all he's done is hit. I mean, 2021, this man had a 393 on base percentage and advanced 2 levels. So far in Fort Wayne this year, he has a 615 on base percentage with a 444 average, albeit in only 9 at bats, which that is very, very minimal. But I've watched him, and I think that he's going to have some massive double potential, so extra base hit potential. I think he'll hit maybe 10 home runs a year, maybe 10 to 15. But I do like him a lot behind the plate, and he could be kind of like another Luis Camposano in this farm system. But I don't think Luis Camposano is better by a wide margin, but he could rise kind of like Luis Camposano. So we don't know. We'll see on that.
If I had $1 for every time you said Luis Camposano for this recap, I think that I would be able to afford a Luis Camposano autograph.
Doctor, like $20, you can literally go get one. Right
I know
now if you wanted
I
to.
have one at Topps Finest rookie.
Then why are you complaining about one?
I'm not complaining. I'm just saying you said Luis Camposano's name a lot.
Luis Campusino? Oh my gosh. Okay, and on that note, folks, we got to end this. I mean, Austin's just talking out of his rear at this point. Cue the crowd laughter. But Austin, that was completely cringe, but it's whatever. But yeah, as always, I am Drake Man. You can follow me on Twitter at DrakeMan4. And Austin, do you have any other comments that are hopefully not stupid?
Yeah, no, man, I'm good. I would just like to say that the stupid comments mostly came out of your mouth. And on that note, we will end it here, folks.
No, the host has to end it. And as always, this was Risers and Shiners, just a quick little recap. See you guys in the next recap. Later.
Peace, everybody.